Nightingale from Inflexion Games just launched into early access last week, and I gotta tell you, they are sponsoring this video, but here's the deal. Usually, when a dev sponsors a video, I just end up playing the game, for a few times, and then, I get the gameplay I need to make the video to show off the game, and then I put the game away, and I go back to my regularly scheduled uploads. But as I'm recording this video, I have now played 40 hours of Nightingale, and I actually already made the sponsored video. But then I couldn't put the game down, and now I'm remaking the video because I was like, cool, now I've got a lot better gear and a cooler house, and I'm fighting cooler enemies. So I just threw the whole video out and decided to remake it. So thanks Inflexion for sponsoring this video, and if at any point during the video you feel inclined, then check the description for a link to download the game for just $30. And let's get into the 5 reasons that this game hooked me, and why I think maybe you might want to play it too. Let's roll.
And out flowed the pail, swallowing all in its path.
First reason, I dig the aesthetic. I mean, there are a lot of survival games out there, and unfortunately, many of them don't innovate on the aesthetic side of things, but Nightingale has what the developer is calling a gas lamp fantasy vibe. Sort of like a steampunk industrial revolution in London sort of a thing, with fantasy Fey realms colliding with it to create something that's especially unique. You're what we call a realm walker, a human resident of the city of Nightingale, but cast adrift on the chaotic waves of the Fey realms and hunted relentlessly by the Bound as you try to find your way back home. So while it's magic and fantasy, it's also grounded with me running around in a bowler cap with an old Lancaster pistol popping heads and saying things like cheerio and righto, old chap. And honestly, I kind of love that whole vibe. Reason number 2, you get to fight some pretty cool enemies. At first, the game is going to sort of ease you in with some pseudo-raptors and basic bound zombie-like creatures, but soon you'll be fighting giant scorpions and venomous spiders and raging automaton sentinels with chest lasers and bound combatants that are spellcasters, or heavy brutes with giant hammers, or fast and lethal bound enemies with dual scythes, or flamethrowers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my swamp home has been trampled by a group of hippos. It's actually called a bloat, by the way. If you've ever wondered what a group of hippos was called, now you know. Pass the knowledge on to your children, and we'll keep the bloat knowledge alive for decades to come. Anyways, there's a vast number of enemies and fauna in this game to hunt, and they all approach combat differently, have various weaknesses and strengths, which keeps you on your toes, and the items you harvest from them have different qualities as well, which can affect how your gear behaves. It's pretty cool. Reason number 3, you can get absolutely swept up in the crafting and building in Nightingale. You'll be like, okay, time to upgrade my gear. Next thing you know, you've been smelting and tanning and building and tinkering and enchanting gear for 2 hours straight, and it'll feel like no time has passed. And that's a good thing, right? The crafting in Nightingale is a real tribute to the survival crafting genre. I mean, you can craft warhammers, axes, climbing picks, firearms, armor, clothing, even craft enchantments that allow you to wield magical abilities in combat and go the route of the spellcaster. Leverage a dozen different crafting stations to diversify your arsenal while placing 30 or more augmentations around your base that apply various buffs to your different crafting stations as well. I mean, the game is far from simple and uninspired. And you can build a home that speaks to you personally, whether it's a swamp shack, maybe it's a stick and stone simple hut, or it's an elaborate desert mansion with a stone mosaic ceiling, or a classic Tudor-style home to sip your tea and eat your crumpets. And no, I'm not kidding. You can actually cook tea and crumpets and enjoy them in your Tudor home while sporting a handlebar mustache or mutton chops. It's up to you. Reason number 4. Nightingale allows you to generate biomes that you want when you want. Okay, so build a portal, play realm cards to customize the world you're about to open up. You can choose between desert, forest, and swamp right now, with more biomes promised to release in the near future. But within those biomes, there's actually a lot of diversity as well. Then you can choose a secondary card which will dictate how dangerous the threats are going to be, if they'll be high-leveled, average, easy enemies. Decide if there's lush foliage or lots of fauna to hunt, or maybe lots of ore and minerals to mine. It depends on what you're after and what you need and what kind of a mood you're in. Then, once you get to your new world, you can clear a Fey tower and access a machine to play miner cards to further change the world and modify it to your liking. You can make the treasure chests have more loot in them. You can turn gravity down if you want. You can increase your player's speed. There are so many ways to further customize your realms, so no two are exactly the same. And finally, reason number 5. Nightingale is cathartic as heck. If you're looking for a game to scratch that survival crafting itch, I highly recommend that you check this one out. The game is so far from being a lazy release, that just imitates what others in the genre are doing. It's inventive, it's unique, and I can't tell you how many times in the last week I've just completely lost my sense of time and grinded for hours, enhancing my estate, building new gear, exploring gorgeous realms. Nightingale can be both exciting and dangerous, but also a wonderful escape for some relaxing gaming. All this to say, I've been thoroughly impressed with Nightingale, and hopefully the fact that I've been neck deep in it for several days now is a testimony to its quality too. I haven't streamed or uploaded content on anything else since I got it. So again, thanks Inflexion for sponsoring the video today. Hopefully you have a better sense of what the game is and what you can expect from it now. And if it looks like the kind of thing that you might like, again, check the description for a link to check it out yourself. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you out in the Feywilds. Bye-bye.